It is difficult to imagine a world without the Greek gods. Their stories shape Western culture, literature, and imagination. Yet, according to the oldest Greek sources, there was a time when none of them existed. Before Zeus, before Olympus, before the Titans, there was only a silent and undefined state. It had no form, no light, and no direction. It was simply called chaos. If topics like this interest you, a like helps the video reach more people. The Greeks did not describe chaos as a being with intention or shape. They treated it as a condition, a gap, an opening, a state in which nothing had structure but everything had potential. From this undefined origin, the earliest forces of existence began to appear, each unfolding naturally, step by step. The first to emerge from chaos was Gaia, the earth. She was not a woman or a giant figure. In the early Greek worldview, Gaia represented the physical ground, the foundation of life, the stable element that allowed everything else to exist. Immediately after Gaia came Tartarus, the deep abyss beneath the world. And then Eros, the principle of attraction, the force that allowed creation to continue. These early beings formed the basis of the Greek cosmos. They were not yet the gods known today. They did not have personalities, temples, or myths of war. They existed as elemental realities, earth, depth, and the force of connection. From their interaction, the structure of the world began to take shape. Gaia then generated Uranus, the sky. In Greek tradition, the sky was not separate from the divine. It was the divine. Uranus became the first ruler of the cosmos, covering Gaia completely and forming the first consistent order. The earth and the sky created balance. And from their union came the Titans, the earliest generation of powerful beings. But the peaceful appearance of this cosmos was not stable. Uranus feared his own children. According to the tradition preserved by Hesiod, he believed that their growing power threatened his rule. To prevent them from rising, he forced them deep inside Gaia, compressing them within her and keeping them from emerging into the world. This created the first tension in Greek mythology, a conflict not between good and evil, but between two forces competing for control of the world's structure. Gaia, unable to bear the pressure, began seeking a way to restore balance. She created a plan and chose one of her children, Cronus, to confront Uranus. Cronus accepted the responsibility, setting in motion the first great shift in cosmic order. While the myths vary in detail among regions and poets, the core message remains the same. The Greek cosmos evolved through cycles of control, conflict, and renewal. Every stage brought a new order, and every order was eventually replaced by the next. Cronus's challenge against Uranus was the first major transition, and would lead to the rise of the Titans as the ruling generation. Before moving deeper, if you enjoy following this type of historical and mythological explanation, consider subscribing for more content like this. Cronus succeeded in ending Uranus's rule. After this event, the Titans established their era. They organized the world, each assuming a specific function. Oceanus controlled the waters surrounding the world. Hyperion represented light and observation. Mnemosyne embodied memory. Rhea became the mother figure of the next generation. Cronus took the throne as the central ruler. Yet, even at this early point, the Greek cosmos was not stable. The stories emphasize a pattern: rulers rise, rulers fall, and power never remains with one generation for long. Cronus himself would soon face the same fear that once troubled Uranus, the fear that his own children could overthrow him. That is the foundation of the next stage, and it leads directly to the origins of the Olympian gods. Cronus's reign began with a sense of order. The Titans spread across the world, each holding a clear function. For a time, this structure appeared stable. Yet the Greek worldview emphasizes that power rarely stays still. and Cronus soon encountered the same fear that once troubled Uranus. According to the tradition, Gaia and Uranus had predicted that Cronus, too, would be overthrown by one of his own children. The prophecy circulated among the Titans, creating a quiet tension. Cronus did not ignore it. He acted directly. Each time Rhea, his sister and partner, gave birth to a child, Cronus took the newborn and swallowed it. He believed this ensured that none of them could rise against him. This detail often surprises modern audiences, but in the oldest Greek texts, it is described not as cruelty, but as a reaction to fear. A ruler trying to maintain control in a world where cycles of power were seen as unavoidable. The pattern continued until Rhea reached a point where she could no longer accept the loss of her children. She searched for a way to preserve at least one of them. When her next child was about to be born, she left for Crete, seeking distance from Cronus. There she gave birth to Zeus. To protect him, she hid him in a cave and gave Cronus a stone wrapped in cloth instead of the newborn. Cronus swallowed the stone, unaware of the deception. Zeus grew in secret. Different regions of Greece preserved different versions of his upbringing, but they share the same outline. He was raised away from Cronus, supported by attendants or divine guardians, until he reached maturity. When the time came, Rhea guided him back into the world of the Titans. Zeus did not confront Cronus immediately through force. Instead, he first sought to restore his siblings. With Rhea's help, he managed to make Cronus release the children he had swallowed: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. In some versions, the release was caused by a potion. In others, by divine persuasion. Regardless of the version, the result was the same. The siblings emerged fully grown. Their return shifted the balance of power. For the first time, the Titans faced a new generation strong enough to challenge their authority. Yet the conflict did not begin immediately. The Greeks understood cosmic change as a process. Zeus needed alliances. He needed forces beyond his siblings. And he needed to understand the structure of the world he intended to rule. This led to one of the most significant decisions in early Greek myth. Zeus freed the Cyclopes and the Centamenes, who had been imprisoned by Uranus and later neglected during Cronus's rule. The Cyclopes were skilled craftsmen. They forged Zeus's thunderbolt, Poseidon's trident, and Hades's helm of darkness. The Centamenes, with their 100 arms, represented overwhelming natural power. If you find these deep origins interesting, sharing the video with someone who likes mythology might be helpful. With these alliances formed, the stage was set for the most important conflict in early Greek cosmology, the Titanomachy, the war between the Titans and the Olympian gods. It would not only determine who ruled the cosmos, but also how the Greeks understood order, justice, and the structure of divine power. The war lasted 10 years. In Greek tradition, this duration symbolizes transition, not time measurement. The Olympians fought under Zeus's leadership, the Titans under the authority of Atlas and Cronus. The Cyclopes provided weapons. The Centamenes shifted the balance with their immense force. The conflict represented a cosmic reshaping rather than a personal struggle. Eventually, Zeus and his allies prevailed. The Titans were defeated. Some were cast into Tartarus, guarded by the Centamenes. Others, like Oceanus, remained neutral and avoided punishment. After this victory, Zeus established a new order, the order that would define Greek mythology from that point onward. But despite their triumph, the world was not fully secure. One more challenge remained. A force older than even the Titans still waited in the depths of the earth. And this force would soon rise against the new generation of gods. Zeus's consolidation of power also depended on a symbolic act that defined divine law among the Greek gods, the assignment of cosmic domains. The three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, drew lots. Zeus received the sky, Poseidon the sea, and Hades the underworld. This division was not about preference. It was about order. Each domain represented a necessary structure in the Greek understanding of the universe. But the separation of realms did not end the threat of instability. A new challenge appeared, not from the cosmos, but from Zeus's own children. The ancient Greeks believed that power naturally created conflict, and the next crisis reflected this principle. The first major internal threat came from Athena's birth. Zeus had swallowed her mother, Metis, fearing a prophecy that she would bear children stronger than him. When Athena emerged fully armed from Zeus's head, it was seen as a moment of both danger and renewal. A new deity had arrived, wise, strategic, capable, yet loyal. This event reinforced Zeus's authority, but it also introduced a pattern. Every new generation of gods could shift the balance. This tension escalated with the birth of Apollo and Artemis, and later Ares and Hephaestus. Each new deity carried unique traits, abilities, and potential conflicts. The Greeks saw their gods not as perfect beings, but as forces that mirrored human unpredictability. This is why divine conflicts often resembled political disputes, rivalries, and negotiations. As the divine family expanded, Olympus became a structured hierarchy. But this hierarchy existed on top of underlying instability. Old fears remained. Prophecies continued to shape decisions. And Zeus, despite his authority, remained alert to any sign that the cycle of overthrow might repeat. It is in this context that one of the most significant myths emerges: the confrontation between Zeus and Typhon. Typhon was not another Titan. He was something different, an extreme force of chaos. Some ancient writers described him as a being of impossible scale, with serpents for legs and wings that could darken the sky. He represented the last major attempt to overthrow Zeus and reshape the world. The battle between Zeus and Typhon was portrayed as elemental: thunder and fire against wind and earth. If Zeus lost, the entire divine order would collapse, and the cosmos would return to a state of uncertainty. This myth served a specific cultural purpose. It explained why Zeus's rule was final. He did not only defeat the Titans. He defeated the last chaotic force capable of replacing him. After Typhon's defeat, Mount Etna was said to imprison him. Volcanic eruptions in Greek thought were reminders of this ancient conflict still simmering beneath the earth. With this final threat neutralized, Zeus's rule stabilized the divine world. But stability did not mean perfection. Greek myths continued to reflect tensions, rivalries, and shifting loyalties among the gods. This brings us to another critical moment: the rise of humanity. The gods had secured the cosmos, but humanity brought unpredictable consequences. Every interaction between gods and mortals became a bridge between two worlds with different laws. And this bridge created stories that blended morality, conflict, and curiosity. One of the earliest and most relevant myths tied to the creation of humans involves Prometheus, a titan who opposed neither Zeus nor the Olympians directly, but acted according to his own understanding of justice. Prometheus shaped humanity from clay. He taught them skills, reasoning, and survival. But the decisive moment came when he gave fire to mankind. This gift was seen as a violation. Zeus had denied humans this power. Prometheus gave it to them anyway. Prometheus's choice established a theme that would repeat throughout Greek mythology: the idea that mortals could challenge divine boundaries through knowledge. Zeus's punishment was severe. Prometheus was bound to a rock, visited daily by an eagle that consumed his liver. The liver regenerated each night, making the punishment eternal. But the deeper meaning was clear. Prometheus had crossed a divine limit, and Zeus needed to reaffirm the separation between gods and mortals. This tension shapes the next evolution of Greek mythology. the age when gods not only ruled the cosmos, but interacted directly with humans through guidance, punishment, or intervention. And this interaction sets the stage for the next major development: the rise of epic heroes. The rise of heroes begins at the point where divine influence meets human action. After the age of cosmic battles and divine rivalries, Greek mythology shifts its focus. The center of the narrative moves from Olympus to the world of mortals. Heroes like Perseus, Heracles, and Jason appeared during a period when the gods no longer fought for control of the universe. Instead, they shaped the destiny of individuals. These heroes were not independent forces. They existed within a system where gods guided, challenged, or tested them. The Greeks used these stories to show how human effort and divine will interacted. A hero could succeed only through a combination of personal ability and the favor, or absence, of the gods. This balance reflected the Greek view of life. Humans had agency, but the world contained forces beyond their control. The pattern was consistent. A challenge was set. A hero accepted it. A god provided a tool, information, or obstacle. And the story demonstrated how humans navigated these boundaries. Perseus received divine gifts to defeat Medusa. Heracles completed labors influenced by Hera's hostility and Zeus's expectations. Jason's quest for the Golden Fleece required cooperation from multiple deities. Each story illustrated an essential idea. The world after Zeus's victory was stable, but not passive. Mortals lived in a universe shaped by rules created through divine conflict. These myths also served a historical function. They helped connect the distant age of the gods to the world known by ancient Greek audiences. The heroes acted as a bridge between mythic time and human history. For example, some cities claimed descent from heroes to explain their origins. Certain rituals were said to come from instructions given by a god or a legendary figure. This allowed mythology to integrate with real cultural practices without presenting them as inventions. By the end of the heroic age, the structure of Greek mythology was complete. The cosmos had order. The gods had hierarchy. And humans had stories that explained their place within this system. But one detail remained important to the Greek worldview. Even after stability was established, uncertainty never disappeared. Volcanic eruptions, storms, unexpected victories in battle, and sudden disasters were still interpreted as signs of divine presence. The myths offered explanations, not certainty. They created a framework for understanding the world, one that blended history, religion, and observed natural forces. This is why the story of Zeus's rise to power was so central. It marked the moment when the universe gained structure, but it also reminded listeners that everything in Greek thought came from conflict, negotiation, and balance. As we look at these myths today, they reveal more than ancient beliefs. They show how early civilizations tried to make sense of a complex world. And they demonstrate why Greek mythology remains one of the most influential narrative systems in history. If this kind of content is useful or interesting to someone you know, sharing the video can help the channel reach more people who enjoy these topics.